So you can say you'll never reduce the 60 vote threshold.
Basically, we're going to make the place work. We're going to make the place.
You're not taking that off the table then.
We're making it work. We're going to make the place
You're
work.
not taking reducing the 60 vote threshold off the table.
No. We're going to make the place work. I don't know what else I can tell you. And you can't make it work unless the minority has input. You can't disregard a person that's not in the majority. The Senate was never designed that way.
Right. And the reason why Manu Raju's eyes lit up in the middle of that interview is that he threw the biggest beach ball his way, saying, so you will not reduce the 60 vote threshold. And instead of saying, of course I won't, I have said previously that I would not do that, instead he responded, we're going to make the place work. And Manu, to his credit, said, whoa. So you're not taking the 60 vote threshold off the table. And he just repeats, we're going to make the place work. He asks him again.
Right.
And he says, we're going to make the place work. So he's given multiple opportunities to say that he's going to stand behind the 60 vote threshold that you need for cloture to overcome a filibuster. What that means is that when you reform that, it comes down to 50. Now, you can replace it with some sort of a talking filibuster, but eventually it allows a majority of senators to make the place work.
I will vote against the For the People Act. Furthermore, I will not vote to weaken or eliminate the filibuster.
And you mentioned earlier that a lot of these offers and counteroffers are political theater. So who is this play for? It's for Manchin, to show Manchin that, look, we're trying hard. We're offering Republicans all sorts of things. We're even offering to lower the we're offering to take corporate tax gains out of here. We're offering to lower the amount of money that we spend on infrastructure, and they just won't go along. He's a savvy enough figure, though, that you don't really need to put on a play for Manchin. So it's a play for Manchin's supporters. That's who the theater is for. So Manchin wants his people back in West Virginia to believe in their bones that he has done everything possible that he can to reach bipartisan agreement with Republicans. And it crushes him.
Right.
He's so sad, he's heartbroken to have to do what he's about to do, which is to vote to change the rules around the filibuster. He doesn't want to do it. He's sorry to have to do it, but it's because there aren't enough good patriots on the Republican side. We tried so hard, so he had to do it. And I think that's what's going on here.
I will not vote to weaken or eliminate the filibuster.
I agree completely. And this clip was sort of a blip on the legacy media's radar until Ryan actually is the one that pointed this out. I agree completely. That is a big statement from Manchin, because actually talking about political theater for Manchin, the benefit is to say, I have said in the past that 60 vote threshold is so important. We're not getting rid of it, et cetera, et cetera. So for him actually to not do that, I think is a really big deal. This is a big story. And if ever there were a time for Manchin to get away politically with voting to get rid of the filibuster, it would be on an infrastructure package, something that in a state like West Virginia is going to be really popular, because he can go out there and say, we need to make this country work again. And I'm a supporter of the filibuster, but from a political perspective, if you think that if Manchin is able to say, like, this infrastructure package is necessary, we have crumbling infrastructure, and the Republicans just don't want to make this country work, that is as good a time as any to actually get away politically with a vote on the filibuster that he'd previously said he wouldn't do.
I will not vote to weaken or eliminate the filibuster.
And it's his colleague, who he's on good terms with, Shelley Moore Capito, who is leading these negotiations with Biden. So if she gets her knees cut out from under her by McConnell, he can say, look, Shelley and I tried. We worked so hard, and it makes me very sad. And it's not just roads and bridges. I saw a story recently that some huge portion of West Virginia drinking water, is poisoned.
Yeah.
And that's just one symptom of the problems that West Virginia has. Infrastructure means water supply too. West Virginia is in desperate need of help. And so it becomes very easy at that point for him to say, look, I didn't want to do this, but the needs of West Virginia are more important, and it's more important that we make the Senate work. And if you organize it around that idea, I'm not for obstruction, I'm for actually making things work, then it becomes much easier for him to go along with it.
Way more politically palatable. But speaking of that, this is actually going to be interesting, because if Manchin concedes on the filibuster,
I will not vote to weaken or eliminate the filibuster. I will not vote to weaken or eliminate the filibuster. I will not vote to weaken or eliminate the filibuster.